Hey guys, gang, welcome to my heist video where I go over everything heist, whether you're SSF, hardcore, or you just in softcore trade and you don't care. If you don't care about heist, you don't want to run it, then that's simple. Once you get to Act 6, open up the smuggler's cache and do not pick up the green contracts. Pick up everything else and sell them on the trade website. There'll be quite a few people that'll be happy to buy them from you, including myself. We love heist and we will run it all day, every day. Running the contracts will allow us to get to the blueprints, which allow us to get to the alt gems that lots of people would like to have, or the other heist items, armaments, and then we can sell those to you. So it all works out. If you are interested in the heist, there are several different ways to run heist, and lots of other content creators have put out other videos regarding this, but this is hopefully helpful to you. Whether you're a novice or an expert, you might find something in this video that will help you. At League Start there are three ways. Basically heist can be cut down to three ways. Number one, you're running a heist resetter. Number two, you are running endgame heisting, or number three, you are running a character get to endgame, and your second character will then be running heist, where you've got some currency to put into a heist build, and therefore you fall into one of the first two categories. Endgame heisting is quite simple. You build a character, you get to endgame, and then you start running the heist contracts to make rogue markers to run the blueprints. Nice and simple. You're looking for the unusual gems, maybe the armaments, and you're looking to make some X from selling those, and whatever else you pick up from the other resources. Alternatively, you can run a heist resetter. Now what a heist resetter does is get to a certain level in the game and stops. Once you hit level 45, you go into the harbour. Act 6 opens up level 45, somewhere around there. Act 6, and then once you hit level 45, you go in there and you buy every single contract that he has to sell to you. As soon as you hit level 46, you're back into Rogue Harbour and you're picking up the heist contracts. Don't pick up the green contracts on your heist resetter, leave them on the floor, because still at the time of this recording you can't do anything with them. They'll take up space in your inventory. You can always come back with a different character and complete those green contracts to get the unique contracts to start dropping. Once you hit a certain level, once you hit a certain point in the story, as in this point, Death and Rebirth, travel to the desecrated chamber of innocence, find the staff of purity. That's the Act 10 quest. You stop. You do not go and do this quest. You do not find the Staff of Purity. By this point you're around level 60 to 67, depending on your playstyle and leveling. At that point you stop and then you start running your contracts. And then you level down. What do I mean by level down? Well, there is a recipe that you can do with one wisdom scroll and one orb scouring. You sell it to the vendor and you get the book of regression, which, as you can see on screen, reduces your character level by 1 and resets your experience for that level to 0. Now this is classed as a level change, which then resets your contracts, and you can buy yet even more contracts for your resetter. Now the idea is there are two levels where you would stop. You would either stop around level 66 to 67. The reason for doing this is to open up contracts that have the map elements to them, so you can start dropping maps, you can start dropping fragments, metamorph, oils, all that kind of goodness. Or you can do what I'm doing on this character, which is to bounce between level 59 and level 60. Now you do still need to unlock all your NPCs, and the way you do this is by following a simple formula from the document I will link below. You start off with cast and Tibbs. Tibbs unlocks Tulina, unlocks Nanette. Cast unlocks Huck, Huck unlocks Niles, Niles unlocks Vendiri, and Vendiri unlocks Gianna, the last NPC. To unlock an NPC, you need to run a contract with the relevant job type, and that will grant you XP. I've had some occasions where I've run low-level contracts and the NPC has not turned up even though I've satisfied all the requirements. So you're better off unlocking them when you're earning XP on the contract. So once you get to that level and you're deciding then to level down and you're running all the contracts as you're leveling down, don't forget to unlock your NPCs. The other thing to note is on NPC gear, I've got again a sheet below that will go through all the gear setup. Don't have something like this. If it's red, it means it won't be active for the character you are playing. Now this is a level 59 to 60 character, so I'm only using Cast for lockpicking, Tibbs for demolition, and Tulina for the occasional agility. Now as you can see, I've got some okay-ish NPC gear on the characters, but they're not active because they're too high level for this character to use. Sucks to be me. A note on the NPC gear, you'll make sure that if you are running heist, you have an appropriate heist filter from Filterblade, Novice's website, Novice and his team's website. For whatever reason, they only show gear that is rare. Now, rare drop gear only starts dropping in the higher level contracts, level 80, item level 80 plus. As you can see, these are level 61, so I'm never going to get any gear showing up on the filter. So you have to go in and manually change the filter to show normal to rare as a range. So when you're first starting off in your contracts, you'll have that level 2 gear drop. So even if you don't craft it, you can just throw an alchemy orb on it and it might give you something from your level 2s, you get your level 3s, etc, etc, etc. Excuse me. If you're running the low level heist resetter like me, level 2s and 3s will be fine. Once you start getting into level 4s or higher item levels, you will have this problem. The best thing to do is, if you're going to be running a resetter, is to only roll gear on the character you're resetting with. Do not roll the gear on your high level characters. If you're going to be running heist at a higher level with a different character, that's fine. Just remember to do one of two things. Don't change the gear, or have two sets of gear. One for your higher level character running blueprints and high level contracts, and one for your resetter. The best way to do this is to have set out a stash tab specifically for harvest. For heist. The reason I stay at 59 to 60 is because this allows me to run the Chaos Enhancer tool, which is a Chaos recipe. Unfortunately, I do not have it to show you on screen, but I will run a contract in a moment and hopefully we'll get some gear to drop. On average, at League Start, I make at least 200 Chaos an hour, if not more, depending on drops and doing the Chaos recipe. As you can see, I have a quad tab here specifically set up for my Chaos recipe with all unidentified items. You hand in a full set of unidentified items that will grant you 2 Chaos orbs, and the Chaos Enhancer tool will help you pick up the right gear, the relevant gear, and then you can hand that into a vendor for the Chaos. I don't have a lot of currency. I've only got nearly 3x here and about 200 Chaos here, but what I do have, if you've seen from the videos, is I have several characters in Scourge. Every single one of those has got at least 5 Exalted Orbs worth of gear. Most of them have more. My Death's Oath character has about 30x on it. The reason for this is because I wanted a project where I had one character of every ascendancy, excluding Necromancer, in standard, just so I could play around with gear, test builds, etc, etc. So I've made quite a lot of currency, and as you can see, I've got quite a lot of currency, just low level currency set around. I've got quite a good essence tab. I've used most of my fossils to craft gear. I've got some mats and scarabs, quite a few oils, and I haven't done any delirium, but yet I have 238 simulacrum splinters and half a dozen orbs. It works. So up to you. As for this actual character itself, this is sorry, I'm getting addled. I recorded this video and it had no sound. Oh, apologies. This is a raider, Toxic Rain Raider. Toxic Rain is getting a excuse me, a small nerf, but it still should be fine. So let's go through this character. MTX wise, we have got the cursed hat, cursed body armor, cursed gloves, cursed boots. We have the scourge weapon skin and the metamorph weapon effect. No footprints, no social frame, and no MTX on the gems. As for the gear itself, we're running a 6-linked quill rain. Now in the new bows in 3.17, this bow will probably change. But please also note, if you are running a heist resetter, you'll have to make sure that you are getting gear relevant to the lowest level you will be sat at. For example, this character's lowest level is B59. I go up to 60, round about to here on the XP track, and then I level down using this recipe. And I'm back down to 59. So I go up to 60, buy the refresh contracts, go down to 59, buy the refresh contracts, rinse and repeat. It's all I do. 59 to 60 and back down. 59 to 60. I buy the demolition contracts, I buy the lockpicking contracts, and if I'm level 60, I buy the level 61 agility contracts, because at that point you can start getting harbinger fragments and currency. So that's also quite good. So we've got the quill rain here, and in here we have got our anomalous toxic rain, which I brought from somewhere else. Divergent mirage archer, void manipulation, vicious projectiles, efficacy support, and conk effect. Now as you can see, all these gems are set at a level, so I can use them at level 59. When I go up to level 60, all of these highlight to be increased by a level, but I can't level them up because then I wouldn't be able to use them when I level down to level 59. And it's the same with gear. If you're running a heist resetter, you've got to be careful about the gear you're buying to make sure that it is relevant for your level. Excuse me, I just need to cough a bit. Apologies for the mute mic, I'm still a bit of a noob with these videos, so I don't know how to edit yet. Something I will learn in 3.17. I have a medical condition called rhinitis, which causes watery eyes and runny nose, and sometimes that can cause a cough for no apparent reason. Slightly off topic, but I'll get back to the video. So you've got to be careful when you're leveling up your gems and when you're purchasing gear. The best way to do it is, if you're going to be running a low level heist resetter like this, is you don't level your gems past the point where you can use them. If you're the higher level, 67, 68, somewhere around there, your choice. Again, you've got to be careful of gear. That gives you a bit more scope of the better gear, and that gives you access to more contracts. I will link an image below this video in the description, which will show you what contracts give you what. Nothing in Heist is changing in the patch notes, so this is all still relevant. This build is also still relevant. You can use another build. If you're running in hardcore, you'll need to run a tanky build so you don't die. Obviously, if you're an SSF, obviously you're going to be stuck with whatever gear you find, craft, or hunt down. In trade, you can just buy whatever. What you're looking for is a fast build, preferably with phasing. You can run in, complete the contract, and run out again. It's got to have enough damage to kill the mobs, and it's got to have enough survivability to get out again. Totem builds work really well because once you're waiting for that door to open, you can drop your totems. The door opens, you hide. You drop your totems, hide a little bit around the corner so the mobs can't see you. The doors open, they target the totems. The totems kill everything. You walk through the door and you're on with your contract. You can also use the auto bomber style characters. Personally, I use my Death's Oath character, occultist character, for the higher level contracts. I have no problem with that. Death's Aura kills them all quite nicely. Thank you very much. Sorry, onto this. I get sidetracked. I love Heist. I've spent in the last 3 leagues, 90% of my time has been in Heist. So, onto the rest of this gear. For the helm, I've chosen a rat's nest. This gives me the increased movement speed and gives me some rarity. Rarity and quant on the character does not apply to Heist chests, only to the gear dropping from the mobs. So the only reason that I'm using rat's nest is because it's got quite a good evasion rating, it's got a little bit of attack speed, but more importantly it's got the movement speed, and I like the idea of a reduced character size because I'm a thief, you know, RP. In the rat's nest we run a level 1 castle damage taken and a level 10 steel skin with phase run and dash. The reason we go with phase run is because not only does it give us phasing, but it also gives us more movement speed when we are running away or through the contract. I have dash because in certain contracts there are barriers you can just dash over, and or you can dash through monsters if your phasing is on cooldown or there's just a large group of them. Quiver, I know the quivers are changing, but the most relevant quiver for us is Hero's Bite. It's got the stats we need. That's it, and it's got the life on there for the attacks, which is also nice. I think the implicit for this is changing in 3.17, but it is still the best Hero's Bite. It's the best quiver you can get. Also, it's relatively free. What I mean by that? Well, there's a vendor recipe to create Hero's Bite if you didn't know. You get a normal Sharktooth Arrow Quiver, which you can pick up from the vendors, Act 2 or 3 vendors, maybe even Act 4 will have one if you don't find one on the floor. You take, hopefully you'll be lucky enough to get an Orb of Chance, or again you can buy it from the Act 2/3 vendor. You take the Orb of Chance, you take the Hero's Bite, you need a rare Onyx Amulet. Onyx amulets are very easy. You can buy any amulet from Nessa in Act 1, 1 green, 1 blue, 1 red gem. Sell those 3 gems with any amulet and that'll give you an Onyx amulet. You then whack on any essence / alchemy orb / orb of binding. You have your rare amulet. You can also buy a rain of arrows from Nessa for a wisdom scroll, and then you're just after a GCP. If you set up your filter correctly to pick up low level quality gems, once you get the appropriate level of quality for gems, you can send them all to gem vendor to get a GCP. In this league I was lucky enough to have a GCP drop from the first red beast I killed with the help of Einhar, and I had my Hero's Bite by the end of Act 2. Since then I've brought a better one from trade, mainly to get more stats. Strength gives us health, Dex gives us evasion, and Int gives us mana and a bit of energy shield, which is always handy. As for the rest of the gear, we've got 2 well rolled the Hoop of Ulls. This is more for the attributes, the damage and the resistances. Again, rarity has no binding on the chests in Heist, so it's just from the mobs. We have 2 of those. We have a gold amulet. Again, the implicit is irrelevant. The reason I have this is because I dropped this on my Death's Oath character while I was running the temple, and this is how it dropped. It's got life on there with 2% increased life, it's got some intelligence on there, it's got damage over time, and more importantly it's got the increased evasion rating. And then with an open suffix I threw on some attributes Attributes are great for this character because it's low level. We haven't got that much going around, but attributes increase all the aforementioned stats. That's kind of cool. As for our chest, it's 6 linked and it is for resists and life with the appropriate prefix crafted, increased max life and mana. Yes, this is a twink. In the chest we are running our toxic rain. You do not want an alt quality toxic rain for your ballista, you just want normal toxic rain. We've got the anomalous ballista totem with conk effect, efficacy, avoid manipulation and vicious proj. In the gloves, for the gloves we're just looking for some resists and life. And in the gloves we're running our auras, so we've got Defiance Banner, Malevolence, Vitality and Divided Grace. Keep an eye on your Vitality, you're still going to need mana to do Toxic Rain. And in the boots we have Lionized Paws with the relevant movement modifier that I farmed on the Lab Farmer, a video which I put out on my channel down below. This is a perfectly rolled Lionized Paws because I brought it. Max strength and dex, so we've got quite a chunky bit of life and quite a chunky bit of evasion from these, plus a 20% increased movement, so it's cool. What we really wouldn't want it for is the trigger level 5 rain of arrows when you attack with the bow. So because of that we are now stacking that rain of arrows, so when rain of arrows hits it kicks off our hex touch support, which applies at the despair, withering touch and life gain on hit, which is absolutely broken for this character. Because we've got such a low health pool, well mine's 2.2k, that life gain on hit is amazing, so you're getting 30 life from each rain of arrows arrow, plus because it's counted as an attack you're getting the 6, on this particular hero spite, 6 life from each of the attacks, so kudos. With the Stygian belt, as you can see, it's a very nice rolled life resist mana stige with a murder sigil. I wanted the movement speed on there and I wanted the damage over time while wielding a two-handed weapon. There were the two modifiers I wanted. I was lucky enough to get one with the movement speed if you haven't taken damage recently as well, so it is an awesome jewel. Brought this from trade, I did not craft it. Flask wise, again, if you're running the resetter you've got to be careful of the levels. This is the best life flask, sanctified life flask you can get for this level. We've got our quicksilver flask, an enduring mana flask with reduced mana cost of skills, we've got our granite flask, and we've got our jade flask. Now these are rolled incorrectly. I thought the increased armor and evasion would be good, but actually what you need is you need bleed removal, you need ignite removal, and you need an anti-freeze flask, anti-chill / freeze. They're the only 3 you need. Mana, this mana pot is great and that is the one you want. So that's the flask and all the gear on the character with the explanation of gems, etc. Now for heist itself, let's go in. There we go. Let's run a heist. So we've got a demolition contract here to run, so I'll pop it in. We choose Tibbs because we want Tibbs. If you are not running heist, if you're running a heist resetter at my level, all we need is Cast, Tibbs and Tulina. Cast runs lockpicking, Tibbs runs demolition and Tulina runs agility. Higher levels you're going to need to want to train them up and get all the characters in level 5s. The one to be careful of is Vindiri. Vindiri, you only want to max him out level 5 for blueprints. And you've got to be careful with your blueprints, you've got to plan them out because obviously he doubles the rewards, fantastic, but his alert level goes stupidly high. So most of the time for demolition I run Tibbs, and if I can get away with it, if Tibbs is in demolition then I take Huck to run brute force. So as long as it needs a level 3 brute force and my Tibbs is in there for the demolition, that's the team up. I run Tibbs and I run Huck. Huck is quite good for his buffs, and also he has experience gain, so if you're running a resetter and you're still leveling up, Huck is great to have in blueprints. Doesn't bring a lot to the table, but it's better than Vindiri if you're wanting to get most of those chests. That's the note on Vindiri. Everyone else, you just level up their skills to level 5. So Isla's for engineering, Gianna is for deception, Nanette is for perception, etc, etc. I've got a sheet below in the description which goes all through this, and it goes through all the gear as well and the geary rolls. So for example, the brooches, when you're running high, let's see if we've got any. Yeah, we go. So the brooches, you want, ideally on your brooch, you want job speed, increase marker value, duplicate basic currency, and then reduced anything. So we can see here, this has got an incorrect quant roll on there, but it does have the rings cut reduced by 10%. That saves your rogue markers, and it's got a chance to duplicate catalyst, which is what I want. The best one is to get currency. The reason we're after duplicated currency is because stacked decks count as basic currency, and as of yesterday I had 400 odd stacked decks that in my stash. I thought all my videos were done until someone pointed out that they didn't have sound, so I'm having to record this again, and now all my stacked decks are gone. I opened them up, so, and I've got quite some good cards. I should have recorded the video, but I didn't. Anyway, roll on. For the cloak, we are looking for job speed, 10% lockdown time, chance to open chests without alert, and again reduced something. So this has got the reduced hiring fee, which is great. It's got the job speed, which is awesome, and it's got the reduced alert from opening chests. Again, if you're running a reset, you've got to be careful of the item level of the item you're rolling. This is 81, so this character can't use this, but I'm not using John anyway, so that's a bit of a side point. Now here, this here is the tools. Excuse me. This here is the tool section, and this here is the weapon section. You can tell the difference because the weapons always have any heist member, and the tools are always restricted to certain heist members. And on the tools, you want again job speed. At the higher item levels, you're looking for plus seconds to lock down. Prior to the high item level, you want increased lockdown time, which is why this one is, and then again a chance to open chests without alert, and an extra reveal with Wakano. I don't think, have I got one with the Wakano? Probably not. Let's have a quick chunk. No, I'm not going to look through all of them, but I don't appear to have one on hand. But yeah, that's ideally the tool you want. As for the weapons, now each heist member does a different style of damage. This is not the damage you're dealing, it's the damage the heist member deals. Again, that is included in the description below. For example, Cast does projectile damage, so we want an arrowhead. A note on the arrowhead: when you're altering your filter for heist, you'll need to add a new rule, because all the tools need item level 81 to roll their max tier, apart from arrowheads. Arrowheads need item level 82 to roll their maxed tier. So just be aware of that. I do have a publicly available filter down below that's kept updated specifically for heist, and all these amendments to the filter are already included. So if you wanted one to be ready to go, that's kept updated on a regular basis, then you can just subscribe to that and you don't have to worry about doing your own heist filter. On all the weapons, you want job speed, 10% lockdown, and then 2 times reduced something. So this one is quite good. It's got the reduced cut fee, it's got the lockdown timer, and it's got the reduced hiring fee, saving the rogue markers. Now the rogue markers are normally meant for blueprints. I've run all the blueprints in this league, and in the last few days I have managed to grind out, well, we've got 18k rogue markers there, and somewhere in my stash tabs for transfer, there we go, I've ground out about 100,000 rogue markers. Those were there before that, so I've got quite a chunk of rogue markers to take over to standard for me, so I can run my contracts in standard to generate more currency for me. Yay! The other advantage of running a higher level heist resetter or an end game heister is you can open the trinket slot. As you can see on this character, I have not run a blueprint to unlock the contract because I wasn't high enough level to run them on this character. Something I'm hoping to do in 3.17 is to see if I can get one before leveling down. If not, meh, I miss out. The ideal trinket to have in heist, if you're running heist, is to have chests have chance to drop duplicate currency, orbs of augmentation drop as chaos drop as exalted orbs, and then the fourth one is increased chance to drop whichever item that you want, or whichever item you want to sell on trade. Preferably for me it's Harbinger, because, you know, who doesn't want exalted shards? That is the ideal trinket. Now obviously these drop from set blueprints, they are corrupted, so you can't do anything with them, so the best thing is to buy one from trade. If you're not running heist on the character but you are interested in running heist on another character, the ideal trinket for you is one that says Smuggler's Cache have chance to drop duplicated rogue markers. That's the only one you care about if the character is not going to be running heist. Anything else on the trinket is completely irrelevant. That's the one mod you need. Make sure you run the Smuggler's Den blueprint to open up the trinket slot. In your heist locker, if you turn it on, they are here in the bunker blueprints. This is where they sit. If you've got any in here, this is the one that you need to run to unlock your trinket slot. You run in there. Right at the end of the heist, there'll be a little pedestal highlighted. You click on that, opens up the trinket slot, you can start using trinkets. So let's get into how I run a heist. So we'll run a demolition contract. Just bring up my Chaos references tool. You won't see this on screen. I have got game capture on rather than screen, something I need to rectify. There we go. Reload the filter, that's it, and off we go. So the idea is to have an empty inventory if you're running the chaos recipe. Fair heist, throw in the marker, choose the relevant person, sign contract, run over to the stash tab, dump the markers. Now because we're running Tibbs, we get to open up 2 chests after the alert. So now the idea is as this is a resetter, we don't want to be killing anything unless we are opening up a locked door. What we do with Tibbs, there we go, drop the totems, that's kicking off, I think that's level 2 brooch. This here is highlighted for the chaos recipe, so I'll pick that up. Now because we are running Tibbs, we do not open this big chest, and we also drop the unique item there. The reason for this is because if you need the inventory space for your chaos recipe. If you're not running chaos recipe, then you pick up whatever you want from the filter. This is a league start filter, so it's going to show lots of unique and lots of discards. The idea is you sell them on trade. If you're SSF, obviously don't use my filter, you'll need to create your own. Same with hardcore, you may need to change your filter depending on what's best for hardcore, because I know the builds are different to softcore. we clear out the rooms and open up the doors before the alert, so it's just easier to run in and grab the chest when the alarm's going off. All the red, white ones you see dropping are the chosen format I'm using for Chaos Recipe. Come on, Tibbs. This is why you need a job speed. More Chaos Recipe stuff. Run round. Nice, Chaos Orb. Open up the door. There we go. Grab the safes. While we open the safes, we click on there to break the glass. Pick up any loot. Stack deck. Nice. Now at this point, if you've got any little chests left, you can run back and get the ones that are closest to the display, making sure that you do not run out of time. Every time you open up a chest, you lose 3 seconds from your timer. If you open the chest and anything drops, do not pick it up. Just get back, get the display, get your rogue markers. Second click will break it, and now we have to escape because the alarm's gone off. That was my son you hear in the background. Jonathan, shush please, I'm recording a video. There we go, back to the locked door. Run through the guards and into the room that we previously unlocked. Now we can open it with Tibbs after the alarm's gone off. Can we pick that up? Not without sacrificing that. So, whoops. Almost died there. Throw that away. What's that? Elite stuff. Get the mana potion. Make sure I don't die. We don't want that. Prophecy's getting deleted. I want to pick up that chain belt. No, I don't need belts. Can I make it a 4? Yes. Drop that. Pick up the boots. Right, let's go. Part of the Chaos Recipe tool provides you a list of which items you need to complete the Chaos Recipe. So I was looking at the tool to see which ones I needed and was dropping the ones that I don't. There we go, we're out. That little clink you heard is the game securing the items from Heist. They are no longer contraband, so there are our items. If you get DC'd or softcore, you die, you're going to lose the items. So we now stash all our Chaos Recipe goods in the tab. We stash our div cards, our currency, div card. There we go. There we go. I'll update the Chaos Recipe tool. There we go. One moment, please. Okay, so that's how to run a demolition contract. I don't have any. I've got a lock picking one here. So the next thing is to run over to Forster's and sell your item you've got to get the rogue markers. And we go straight back into the contract for cast as lock picking, and then put the rogue markers back into our stash. So we've got the open inventory. A lot of this management is only specific to running the Chaos Recipe. If you're not running the Chaos Recipe, or it's too late in the league for Chaos to be applicable to you for whatever reason, obviously a lot of this will change depending on what you want from your heist or not, as the case may be. If you got this far into the video, I am assuming you are going to be running heist, whether it's as a resetter or an end game person. Now, because we are running cast, we do have to unlock our chests. We don't have the same option as Tibbs. No, don't want to pick that one up. Normally I'd pick all of this stuff up, but it's late into the Scourge League. We're only a couple of days before the league ends, so a lot of my money was... Whoop, that was a leader guy. Be careful of those. It's about anything that can kill us in heist. With these, with the jewels you saw dropping on my loot filter, or on the loot filter I should say, I was bulk selling those for 30 plus C each, which is where a lot of my money came from at the beginning of heist, and they were flying off. Ones that I would never use in a month of Sundays were still selling at 30-40 C a pop. Yep, check the alert level, there we go. Through here. See me tapping away on the old phase on there, that's why we're using it for the extra movement speed mainly. Pick up the safes, click the display once, see what drops from the safes. Some of these div cards may not be relevant at this time in the league, but ultimately if you've got the space, pick them up, turn them in for the item, sell the item for alt shards and alch shards, and then sell alterations / alchemies if you don't need them yourself. So we activated our quicksilver flask. We're not too bothered about it running down and restarting. We're using because we are at this time still killing stuff, so it's not too much of concern. There we go, we're up to level 60, which means our contracts have refreshed. I'll go and look at those in a minute. And we are out. Oops, I thought the door was over there. It's not. There it is. There we go. So again, we just drop all of this into our stash tab. Not the jewel. Drop our cards. At this stage, that would normally just go into a tab to sell for about 30C plus, but at this late game they are not selling now, so we just vendor it. You still get alch and alt shards, which again, like I said earlier, you can either use for yourself or you can just build up a mass amounts of alch shards and alchemy orbs and then sell them on trade. So that's it. What I would do now is then go and check Wakano purchase. So we go demo, there's a demolition one. It's magic, it is an alch orb, but we generate orbs of scouring, so that's fine, we can scour that off. Look for lockpicking ones, no, that's engineering, that's lockpicking, and then finally we look for agility ones. No, that's engineering as well. So we go to our stash tab, there we go. And then we store these in our tab here for later use. At this point now I've leveled up, I'll just quickly check my XP bar, make sure I'm not going up to level 61, purely because it's a waste in resources to level down, buy the contracts, level down again. Waste. So round about here-ish somewhere would be when I would consider stopping running contracts and level down, back down to 59, buy the contracts and rinse repeat. That's all it does. That's what a resetter does. As you can see now at level 60, all of my gems are highlighted to level up. I won't be leveling any of them up because when I level down to 59 I won't be able to use them. So that is the most important fact when you're running a resetter, is to make sure that your gear and your gems are level locked to the level you are going to sit at. As for resistances, the only resistances you need is to cap out your elemental resistances, and you'll get your chaos resist to 0, maybe a little bit over. The only thing in heist that does chaos damage is when you run the tile set of laboratory. Some of their traps do chaos damage, so you don't need a lot of chaos resistance, but a little helps. We're also not plagued by the Katava Act 10 because we don't kill Act 10 Katava. We only kill Act 5 Katava, we do not kill Act 10 Katava on a resetter. Endgame heist, it's different. as explained previously in the video. Check out the documents below. I hope they've been helpful. I can't think of anything else I need to say. If you've got any questions or queries, you can find me on Discord, Twitter, or or by comment here, or by email. Everything is garth412 and email is garth412@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Enjoy 3.17. I'll see you next time.